Hey everyone, we are here at CitizenCon 2016. This is now the third time you've heard me say this. We spoke with Chris, spoke with Sean, and now we're speaking with Erin Roberts from the UK office. Erin, how's it going?
Oh, really well. Thank you very much. Yes. Yeah. Well, it's been a good evening.
Before getting to that, all of this coverage is brought to you by Antec and their new Cube MITx case as designed by Razer, which is shown on the screen now, supports full custom loop water cooling. You can learn more in the link below. So the demo was a pretty big deal from what we saw here today. What can you talk about some of the stuff you had more directly hands-on with, or your studio had hands-on with?
So basically, a lot of the tech from the demo came from the German office in terms of the actual procedural planetary tech, which is Marco Corbetta is the main guy who did that sort of work, and then you have Karsten, and there's a few other Sasha and so forth who are working in the office. I'm sorry, first name basis here, but these guys were like they did a lot of tech. A lot of them they'd work very heavily with the environment artists, and there's one or two in the German office, but actually a lot of the environment artists also in the UK office. So the UK and the German office are very close. In fact, they're both Foundry 42. It's one kind of studio, and so we work very closely. And so between the two offices, we spent a lot of time putting that stuff together.
What sort of content were you working on leading up to the demo? What was your primary focus for the PlanetSide demo?
Well, we wanted to show the ability, because we showed in Gamescom literally what we sort of called like the V1 of just basically, we've got like a procedural planet, here it is, and it looks quite good. But we wanted to go a step further with the V2 stuff and actually start creating levels which are almost like a crisis level which you see on the ground on a 2 kilometer square map, but we want to do that on a planetary scale, and then from a planetary scale we want to do that on a system-wide scale, and on a system-wide scale we want to go to a universe, a galaxy scale and so forth and things. And so it's about creating that technology. And so a lot of the work that we put in today was literally, we didn't have any of that at Gamescom. This is all stuff we're working on, and it's just it might be about 4 to 8 weeks since then, and that's kind of testament to the technology and what we can do, that we can actually create a bunch of this stuff and put it together and put that kind of stuff together in that speed at that time. And that's because of a lot of the time we spent on the technology over the last 18 months of building all this kind of stuff up, which we just didn't have before. Changing stuff that, we've talked about it 64-bit, all kinds of stuff, but we had to get all that basis in there to be able to do all this cool stuff.
So just since Gamescom, all this stuff has been developed in that time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the technology's been longer term, but in terms of the content, yes, a lot of that stuff. I mean, we obviously had the Javelin, which we then sort of like smashed up and broke up, but that was created, and we did lots of this kind of stuff and things, stuff and that stuff. But literally, in terms of putting that together in that way, it was put together, and actually with not a large team, because a lot of the focus actually has been on Squadron 42. We're still working through, and obviously we plan to show a bunch of that stuff later. But actually, that team, we just wanted to show what we can do with new technology, and actually, it's just the start of it, because we even with the environments we have now, they're just really it's just a bit of R&D work from 5 or 6 environment artists just working out how we can make stuff look. And so we know that when we actually get when we're really into the production pipeline of making these planets and so forth, we can just start sort of amazing sort of planets and so forth and things like that.
What are some of the challenges with the biome system, where you have, in this example of the Homestead demo, there are multiple different types of biomes all on one planet? So what are some challenges you run into with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the blending in terms of going, and also because you've got a scale of a lot of the sort of memory restrictions, and then basically the streaming side of the sort of like, because you have to create the sort of like you have to have the memory to do that, and then also being able to blend between different biomes, like you said. So are you going from desert to water? You're going from water to savanna or jungle or whatever and so forth, and there's that kind of stuff. So we spent a bit of time, and like I said, a lot of the stuff has actually come on a lot quicker than we thought in terms of that level. And then you've got the tech guys, we've got artists working with them and creating all that kind of stuff. So you have this sort of levels of, some days people go, oh yeah, we're working on this, and then they say, oh, come look at this for 3 days later, and then you just see something and go, wow, and that kind of stuff, and things when they actually put the stuff together, along with a lot of the it's not just about, I guess, the environment textures as well. It's about the whole environment. So, the way the sun reacts. So you can see when the sun goes low, it goes red and all that kind of stuff. And like I think Sean said in the thing, we kind of get that for free, which is a bit unfair because there's a lot of tech work behind it. But then you have we've got cloud layers coming on, and even the clouds we have now are nowhere near what we will have, where we want a lot more substance and stuff. We're going to have weather systems already. We're working on, actual, procedural ways to actually have different weather systems and things which affect stuff. So when you're going on a planet, you can just all of a sudden, on a basis, you might, one day you might go down to do something. The next day you go to that location. It's very dangerous because of the weather pattern coming through, and we can have all that kind of stuff. We're trying to run through the planets to make the whole planet exploration really sort of fun and and interesting.
Right. Well, so that last point reminds me of the sandstorm we saw in the demo. So that's an example of where it gets dangerous.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can you talk more about the sandstorm that was in the demo? What's
Yeah, I
driving
mean,
it?
we literally, once again, it was something we decided we wanted to show people the kind of stuff that will happen on planets, rather than just like, oh, you go to some place, you dig up some dirt, you find some mineral. We wanted to have like, no, you go down and we can actually place interesting areas, and sometimes you'll go there and there'll be an encounter of some type. There'll be, it could be there's a crashed javelin and there's no one there. There could be people there sometimes. There could be a sandstorm coming through. There could be a huge worm which happens to be around. You have to be careful about it. And we want to create this all very sort of like procedural way of just basically making all this sort of like systemic way of just having all these different things happening, and depending what happens and depending where you are, what time of day, different things happen. And that's the real key about to make it really interesting in the worlds.
Very cool. So for more information, as always, link in the description below. Erin, thank you for joining me.
Well, thank you very much.
And we'll see you all next time.